All right, first YouTube channel video. First of all, I just wanted to say it's really even an honor to be able to talk about being a girl in jiu-jitsu. I mean, I've only been on the jiu-jitsu scene for about 4 years, so having people interested in hearing my experiences and my opinion of it is really, really cool. So thank you for that. Thank you anyone who's watching who contributed on my Instagram about asking questions about certain topics and telling me what you guys want to hear. This channel is not for me, you know, it's for girls in jiu-jitsu. It's for whoever's really interested in watching it. So I really like to be able to ask you guys, just as I do on my Instagram, about little things as well, but weekly, letting me know what you guys want to hear from me. And of course, if it's something I can talk about, I will. If it's something I can't talk about or have no idea about, I won't talk about it. It'll always be very, very real, very raw, and of course, like, from my own personal experience, like, I am very, very less experienced in a sense of being in the jiu-jitsu community as some of the amazing, amazing female jiu-jitsu athletes out there, but I have committed to the lifestyle 100% the day that I realized it was what I wanted to do. So I'm very confident in my opinions and things that I've experienced that I think would be great to share with anybody who's listening and anybody that it might help. First of all, the media guys hooked it up with the lighting right now. Super good. It looks like makeup lighting, but it's actually just, there's a window with sun. Okay. Anyway, so I guess to get started, since it is my first video, a little bit just about my background in jiu-jitsu. I started jiu-jitsu, it'll be 4 years in June, this coming June. It'll be 4 years for me. My uncle got me into it in Hawaii, actually. I moved there after graduating college. And at first, I was doing the MMA thing, and then 2 years ago, in April actually, I did my first IBJJF tournament. I traveled to Austin, Texas, and after doing that, I was like, this is exactly what I want to do, and I just committed to it. And 2 years later, here I am on YouTube talking about my experiences, and it's super cool. All right, so anyway, to get rolling, the first, and when I asked you guys what you wanted to hear, the most responses I got is just about being a girl in jiu-jitsu. Half of the responses was beauty and kind of like being girly, and the other was about actual training as a girl, being on the mat, and that was what was most interested in to be talked about first. So let's get into it. I'm going to try to answer as many of the questions I got, and this, again, it's through my experience, it's through my opinion. So if it's something that works for you, doesn't, you agree with, you don't, that's all I have, you know, is my own experience. So that's really all I can give you in a sense of advice, but I'll do my best, and I'll do my best to answer everyone's questions. If I look at this, it's because I took notes, because I just want to make sure I can help as many people as possible. The biggest thing that people were talking about was male and female, training with guys, guys training with girls, finding guy training partners, just anything along the lines of that. Also, girls and girls, you know, like getting girls motivated to training well with other girls. And then also I did get a lot of questions about training with spouses, just the female-male connection and whatnot. So I'll hit on that too. But let's start with training with guys. So fortunately, I've never had a bad experience training with guys. In a sense, like, I've definitely had my fair shares of finding guys I can and cannot train with, but I've never had the whole walk into the gym and be like, oh, there's no girls here. Like, of course it's great when there's girls there, but I've just never had a bad experience with the guys, and I'm very fortunate for that because I know some people have. And again, it's all about finding what works best for you, finding who works best for you, and being able to be confident in that. In a sense, what I mean is finding guys that you train well with, and it's not going to be the same for everybody. You know, for me, most of the time it's better to have higher belts to train with because I am very strong. And when a guy doesn't have as much technique and he feels my strength, there's definitely times where they outstrength me, and that is either a situation where you could get hurt or you just can't do anything. In a sense, like, okay, he's outstrengthened me, there's really nothing I can do, versus, okay, here's a higher belt. He feels my strength, but he also can out-technique my strength. In a sense, he's going to be better for me to train with. But again, somebody or a female who, like, I'm medium heavy and I walk around at 160, and a lot of it is muscle. So someone who might be smaller, not saying they're not strong, but just smaller, a lower, you know, belt might be easier, because if the lower belt outstrengths you, they'll focus more on technique and you might get a better roll. That's just my experience, because there's some girls, like, she's like, oh, I train great with that guy, and I don't. So it's not, I can't sit here and tell you, like, blue belt males that are 150 pounds are the best training partners for girls, because it's not true. It's all going to be individual, and you have to experience it. You know, you have to not be afraid to ask a guy, like, hey, will you roll with me? Or if they're going too hard, tell them, you know, or tell them that they're not good training. Not, you're not good training for me, but, like, they'll know, you know, they'll know rolling too if they're outstrengthening you, and that's just what it is. Sometimes, like, if he's the last guy and you're the last girl, you're gonna roll, and you just have to go with it. Like, there's some guys who I know they cannot necessarily, like, control the strength with technique, and I just defend and kind of let them do them. That's the other thing I want to get at. I got a lot of girls asking about guys being stronger than girls, and there's always been that huge dilemma, not even in jiu-jitsu, but in everything, like, being like, oh, we're girls, we're just as strong as you. So, like I said, I'm very pro, like, hey, girls, we can do this too, but guys are strong, you know? Especially a guy your size, even, like, the size below you, most of the time, they will be physically stronger than you. And I've had this conversation with one of my athletes. You know, she came up to me and she's just like, I just feel like I get to this point and they just, like, have to use they use their strength and there's nothing I can do. So what I tell my girls is, if you're rolling with a guy, you know, and he uses his strength to sweep you, he uses his strength to pass you. The point of jiu-jitsu, not the point, but, you know, one of the things said is, like, it's for smaller people to be able to beat bigger, stronger people. So I tell my girls, when guys resort to their strength versus technique, it should be a compliment, you know, because that means they can't beat your technique with technique, so they go and they use strength. So never get down on yourself about a guy being stronger, you know? Never get down on yourself by getting tapped out 10 times. Is it frustrating? Of course, but that's just how it is. And if you look at any competition, you're not gonna fight a guy. And it's for a reason, because there is that there's difference between the genders in a sense of strength and physical ability and whatnot. So never ever get down with a guy having to use his strength on you. You might have better options. In a sense, his strength could hurt you or something, and there's better options. But when a guy, like, really uses his strength to do something on you, take it as, you know, a compliment. Like, oh, I challenged him enough that he had to stop me in a different way. When I started jiu-jitsu in Hawaii, the gym I was at, not saying didn't have any girls, but there weren't any other really girl competitors or girls in my mindset of what was happening. And I trained with only guys, and I became very, very defensive. And that's okay. Like, is it fun to be able to go to training and totally just make a fool of the person you're training with? Of course, but I never had that, you know, when I was starting the first 2 years. You know, it was all guys. I was very defensive. And the way I look at it is I can defend submissions very, very well because of it now. You know, everything that happens, you have to find the positive in it and use it. So I guess when it comes to guy training partners, it's about finding which ones work for you. And there are going to be some guys that are very good at going equal, and you could even think, oh, like, I beat them, or oh, I'm just as strong as them. And maybe you are, or maybe they're just really good at equaling to you, you know? So try to find those guys. Trial and error. It's all it is. Trial and error. Be careful. Don't ever let your stubbornness hurt you, in a sense of resisting something and then they have to use their muscle and they overpower it and you end up getting injured. So it's hard, you know. The thing with training in guys is you just have to find the guys that work for you. I'm very lucky to have a gym where there's tons of people, so I have usually every role someone that I can go at a pretty good pace with. But at your gym, don't be afraid to go with a higher belt, a lower belt, until you find that person who you get a really good training with. One of the hardest things is to get comfortable in your gym, almost. It's like people get comfortable fighting. Oh, I lost, but I was fighting, you know? It's like you're not competing with anyone here. Like, in your gym is where you need to open up, you know, you need to learn. If you're stubborn and don't go with the people who you're afraid of getting beat by, like, you're never gonna get better, you know? So I guess bottom line, just trial and error. Try this guy, try to find someone who works for you. It might be somebody who you would never talk to often, you know what I mean? You don't get along, but maybe they're the best training for you. You know, maybe it's a guy you've never talked to before, but you're kind of looking at his size, you're like, okay, try it out, just try it out. Just try, find what works. And if there's one guy in the gym that works, hit him every other round. You know, talk to him, be like, hey, is it okay if I get you every other round? Even if it's just one person, one good training partner Is better than none, or better than going with someone you can't do anything to. So trial and error, for sure. And never let getting submitted and out strength put you down, because if they have to use their strength, take it as a compliment. You know, like, oh, I'm giving them a hard time. You know, they had to resort to something else. Just try to look at it as a positive. So that's what I want to say about that. The next thing is girls. So as girls, we have this, like if you watch girls fight versus guys fight, and it's been like this my whole life. I've been competing since I was 4, not in jiu-jitsu, but in sports. And girls are just always a little bit feistier than guys. Like, guys will like punch each other and then hug after. Girls are like, good game, you know, like very sassy. And it's like, it's sad, but it's just, we're emotional creatures, and that's just how it is sometimes. And I got a lot of questions about that as well. Like, how do you find good girl training partners? How do you encourage girls? So now I want to flip the switch from training with guys to training with girls. So when it comes to training with girls, it's the same thing as training with guys, except you have to take advantage of it a little bit more, in a sense. Whenever I'm training and there's girls on the mat, I'm always going to go with the girls first, or every other, because that's who I'm going to fight. Even if it's a girl and it's like her 3rd day of jiu-jitsu and I'm trying to get my training in, during fight week, it might be a little bit different, but any open, everyday training, I'm always going to train with the girls first. There's 6 girls on the mat. I'm going to hit all of them first, and then I'll find my guy partners. I might have a better guy partner than this girl that I'm training with, but I'm gonna fight girls. That's just how it is. You have to take advantage of it. Whether they're new to jiu-jitsu or whether they're a black belt that kicks your ass every time, like, it's a girl. Girls are who we fight. You're a girl. Take advantage of the girls that are sitting there right in front of you, you know? And it's the same as the guys in a sense. You can't get defeated and you can't get competitive. If it's a girl from your team, understand. I'm talking to competitors right now in a sense, you're never going to fight them. In a sense, if you're the same team, you're never actually gonna have to compete. So don't let emotions take over when you're training with other girls in the gym. I always tell my girls when we're training, like, push each other. Like, if I'm saying shoulder pressure, give her shoulder pressure. You know, we're all about, you know, having good full girls teams, but it's like when we're training, we're almost too nice sometimes. We have to train like we do with the boys. Like, again, like, I started with just boys, so I tend to be a little bit more physical, but I do it to the girls that I'm training with when I'm teaching, and I tell them to do the same. Because if you're wanting a good girls team in competition, if this girl who's only been training with the other girls, she goes into a competition and gets shoulder pressure, knee to belly, just things she's never felt before, and loses, do you think she's gonna wanna fight again? No, you know, it's like we have to prepare each other. Like, we hear it all the time, like, women need to lift each other up, you know, of course we do. But that's also about being mean to each other sometimes in a nice way. You know, all my girls here, I can go head to head with them, you know, and then we're hugging after. I can get submitted. Can you show me what you did? You know, it's like, help each other. Compete with each other without the emotion of it being a fight. So that would be in a sense of training with girls. Like, I had a girl ask, like, oh, are you always supposed to go with the girls? Like, it's just gonna happen. You know, it's just gonna happen. Like, the coaches are gonna pair you up, this and that. And it's like, if you're better than them or more advanced than them, then help them. Be a tool. Rather than being like, this isn't very good. If it's your fight week, different. But if it's just a training session, sometimes when you can coach or help someone, it actually helps you because it makes you realize, like, oh, I know what I'm talking about. Or it makes you remember a detail that you might have forgot because you're speaking about it, you know? So, yes, always go with the girls. Always take advantage of it. Never run from your female training partners, because at the end of the day, if you're a competitor, you're gonna be fighting girls. You have to get used to fighting girls. So that's that. Leave the emotions at the door, leave the pride at the door, get tapped out, tap her out, put a little extra shoulder pressure. This is really kind of for more of a competition. Now I want to transfer into, I got a question about, you know, how do we get more girls to train? How do we get more girls in the gym? And it's just about being present. As much success I've had in a sense of winning titles and championships, like, I've been present in the community in something I love. If you look at my Instagram, it's very me. The posts are yoga, fitness, and jiu-jitsu. That's what I do. I'm not posting random, like, I don't skip, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not posting random things that I don't do. I make it very genuine as to who I am. So when it comes to, and I've noticed just over time with girls and getting more followers and messages and stuff, it's just because I'm present, you know? It's like, I make sure to post on Instagram, let people know what I'm doing, and it shows, like, I've gotten many even messages from guys, which I'm also gonna want to get to too, about being like, hey, thanks, like, you really opened my girlfriend's eyes into a sense, like, of a different way to see jiu-jitsu, and I appreciate that. And that's the second half of this video that I'll do next week, is kind of like the whole, like, being girly in jiu-jitsu, you know? So if you're present, you know, it's like you have to put effort into it. You're not gonna get girls in the gym just by being like, hey, come train with us once, and making a post. You know, it's like we have a girls group on WhatsApp in our gym, and it's always like, hey, women's class this week, who's there? One of the girls would be like, oh, I'm training tonight at 7, like who else is going? Who wants to compete this weekend? We go out, we dress up, we go out to dinner. So one, it's about showing your faith and showing your consistency within the females in your group. That shows girls from the outside looking in, like, oh, okay, like, oh, cool. You know, it's almost like a little girls group doing a man's sport. You know, as most females see it. Like, even recently, it's like, you know, guys, like, and it's really, I know not everyone can have a women's class because you don't have enough females, but it's also even doing privates. And whether you charge or not, you have a girlfriend, be like, hey, like, I would love for you to come in and I'll do a session with you to see if you like it, and then maybe we can jump in. Like, I'm definitely gonna say, we have it really great here in a sense. We have a females class. We have a lot of female competitors. Cyborg separates the very new first day wipeouts to get comfortable. So we have a lot of the tools here, but it's not impossible anywhere, especially with the way it's growing. You know, it's like, there's so many girls doing amazing things in jiu-jitsu, girly or not, you know what I mean? It's like, you don't have to promote, like, look, you can still be a girl and jiu-jitsu. It's not about doing that. It's just about being present. Be like, this is what I do, this is my life, I love this, I'm a girl, I can still put my high heels on, I can still be a girl, but I do jiu-jitsu and I do it with my girlfriends. You know, so be present, promote it. Tell people about it, see people on the street, like, you know what I mean? You're standing in a line, like, usually being an athlete or wearing a you know, people randomly talk. Everyone talks to each other, like, oh, cool, like, you do jiu-jitsu, awesome, but, like, just reach out. Post something on Instagram, like, hey, is girls out there, is anyone interested in trying? Like, see what sometimes they just need that little, like, reach out to them. They're not always gonna reach out to you. You know what, there's girls that come to my fitness classes every day. So when you're starting, they finally start. You know, it's kind of just about giving that little push. And like I said too, I'll do a private with a girl for free, just to, like, be like, hey, let's put the gi on. Let's learn how to mount somebody in a normal way. You know what I mean? It's awkward. It's super awkward. So it's just about getting girls comfortable without throwing them in. You know, it's like, if you started a couple years ago, you were just thrown in. Or if you came from a small school, it's only guys, and you were that girl to show up, you were just thrown in. They don't have to be just thrown in anymore, you know? If you're really trying to grow your women's program or get girls interested, grab them by the arm and get them in there, and, you know, let them know, like, that we're girls and we do jiu-jitsu, and it's great, you know, especially if they want to try it. So even a challenge to you, if you're trying to get other girls to get into it, on your Instagram, on, you know, the story, or Facebook, wherever, be like, hey, are there any girls interested in trying jiu-jitsu? Let me know, because even that, they might be like, ooh, what's that about? You know, and then it's like, oh, just come in, train with me, come in, you know, just reach out, be present, let them know, like, it's a lifestyle and it's amazing. You want everyone to be a part of it. Okay, the next thing I wanna look at, I had a couple questions from guys about getting their, this will just be brief, getting their girlfriends into jiu-jitsu. We can say jiu-jitsu is for everybody, but it is also one of those things that, like, you kind of do, even the first day not knowing anything, whether you're gonna like it or not. But I think for guys, for girls, for their girlfriends that they're trying to influence, set them up with another girl. You know, like, be like, oh, this is so-and-so from my gym. Like, well, actually, one of our guys here, he brought his girlfriends to one of the, I have never seen her before, he brought her to one of the trainings, and he introduced me, and he's like, I would really like her to start training. She kind of wants to, and she opened up to me about how she's like, I'm nervous, it's weird. I told her, I was like, no, you're gonna be just with me, we're just gonna train. If you like that, we'll jump into the women's class. If you like that, we'll jump into the fundamentals class, you know? So it's about getting them connected with other girls. Yes, of course, show them this video. Show them some of, you know, the amazing, amazing other female world champion black, but whatever, you know? Show them that it's okay. You know, show them it's okay to be a girl in jiu-jitsu. Show them, like, I don't have black eyes and bruises on my arms. You'll get bruises for sure, you'll get black eyes, but it's not something that has to change who you are just because it's a martial art, it's a fighting sport, you know? Like, just connect them with other females. They can message me if they want. You can have me message them if you want, in a sense. But if you have a girl in your gym, introduce them. Have that girl, like, just, if she's a white, whatever belt she is, you know, have her just put the gi on and do whatever she knows with them to just kind of let them get introduced with it. So that's just quick for guys. It's more so just getting them connected with other females in the jiu-jitsu community. Show them things, like, there's so many girls pages specifically for girls in jiu-jitsu, and it shows girls and them being beautiful, dressed up, girls winning things, girls hanging out together with their teammate, you know, show them the lifestyle of it. Connect them with girls in your gym and just let them get comfortable with the idea of it. The next thing I wanted to talk about was also for guys asking about how to train with girls. I feel like it's almost much easier for us to train with guys than guys to train with us. And again, like I said, I've never had a bad experience in a sense of a physical, like, I know sometimes people have weird, like, experiences with inappropriate behavior. I've never had that experience, but first of all, I guess I would say just don't do that. You know, if you roll with a girl and you can't not do that, just don't be the one to roll with girls. If you are kind of just looking on how to roll with girls better, talk to the girl. Get comfortable with the girls in your gym. Sit down next to them, talk to them. Yes, the whole boyfriend thing, married thing, on the mat, we're all one. You know, we all do jiu-jitsu, okay? So get comfortable with your female teammates, you know? Get to know them. Get to know what they're good at. If you're a higher bound, you think you can help, like, hey, what do you need help with? Maybe drill with them first and see where they're at to better gear how to roll with them. The only thing that I can ever really say definitely is, like, try to control your strength a little bit. Try not to let your pride get in the way. In a sense, if a girl is going to sweep you really well, instead of using that strength, just let them sweep you. You're in the gym. It's the same with girls and guys. It's like, don't let the pride hold you back or hold somebody else back. We're all a team when we're in the gym training, you know? Work with each other. Help each other. So for guys, again, like, try not to get rid of the pride. If you feel like, oh, I could outstrength this to get rid of this technique, no, let her sweep you, let her submit you. You know, and girls, I don't mean that in a way like wanting them to go easy on you. You know, but just to get girls comfortable with rolling with guys and vice versa. First of all, it's all just getting to know each other, getting to know your teammates, being comfortable with each other. Finding out who you can and can't roll with. Same as I said, there's some guy that might be good for her, but not for me. Same with guys. This girl might be good for you to roll with, but that one's not. And you'll find that out, but the only way you're gonna find out is by rolling with them. And it's so much easier for girls if you ask us. You know, once girls get comfortable, it's whatever. But it's much easier when a guy comes to the girl and is like, hey, do you want, even if it's like, you know, like, if you were gonna rest and you know there's just a girl that you are stronger than or whatever, ask her to roll, you know? And again, if it's a girl that you compete really well with, don't be afraid of getting swept. Don't be afraid of getting submitted. It's jiu-jitsu, it's one, like, yes, there's females and males, but you have to see it as one in a sense of, like, we're all trying to learn and get better. So that's that, guys. I hope that's helpful with with the questions. That's really all the questions I got from the guys, was how to roll with girls and also just getting their girlfriends into jiu-jitsu. The last thing I wanted to talk about was I had multiple questions about relationships within jiu-jitsu or like inappropriate behavior. Again, I'll say it again. I've had great experiences with guys. Great experiences with all the guys I've ever trained with. One thing my uncle told me when I first started martial arts is never date your coach or never date anyone in the gym. Again, we are human, we have hormones, it's a physical sport, so as much as you want to stand by that, and you should, you know, if it's something you're really, first of all, never go to a gym hoping that this is where you're gonna find your soulmate, because that's just weird. In a sense, like, go to the gym to want to do jiu-jitsu, not to get married. That's weird. It's gonna be very obvious. But I also got a couple questions of girls finding some inappropriate behavior, in a sense, like, not on the mat, like the guys aren't like whispering in their ear, like being inappropriate, like, oh, I accidentally touched your butt. No. Guys, I guess, off the mats, asking either to go out or flirting or something like that. So the only reason why that feels weird is because earlier in the session they might have been mounting you. But think about it. If you're in any setting, when you were in school, when you're at the office, when you're at work, when you're at a bar, it happens. It's not because it's jiu-jitsu that it's happening. It's because it's a male and it's a female and it's hormones. And it's just being attracted. It's gonna happen anywhere you go in life. It happens if you're at the bank and someone's attracted to you and they have no shame and like, hey, you wanna go on a date? It's not because it's jiu-jitsu. It's different because there is that physical contact, which there should never be, again, that line being crossed on the mat. But you have to think, if they're flirting or asking you out, if they ask you out and you said no, most guys, with my experience, they back off unless you're giving them a reason to keep pushing forward. So I guess it's just a sense, be very open about why you're here. Or if you have a boyfriend or husband, make sure that's known. Like, I'm here to do jiu-jitsu, that's it. And I know personally, if I get turned down, I don't like keep poking at it. It's like, okay, good talk. And it's pretty human if you get turned down or you really let somebody know, like, hey, I'm not interested, they're gonna back off. And if it doesn't work, then that might be something to bring up with either a professor or whoever's in charge, like, hey, I've told this guy and he keeps like attacking me. But as long as you're not giving them a reason to, you should be okay. And like I said too, it's not because it's jiu-jitsu, it just feels weird because you're touching, but it's off the mat. That I've gotten asked about it from people on my Instagram, and it's just like anywhere else, school, the workplace, the bar. Attraction is attraction, and you're always gonna get asked out, so it's just about being polite, letting them know where you stand, and be like, hey, sorry, like, it's not what I'm about. A lot of the times there are relationships that happen, and if it's an organic, natural thing, it's hard to say don't do it. You know, you're in the same gym, but just realize if you do it, and some gyms have rules in a sense you can't, but if it does, just always have in the back of your mind like the consequences of if there's a breakup or whatever. But again, as long as you're very straightforward with where you stand, in a sense of this certain person or these certain people, like, hopefully they back off, and hopefully they would, you know. And if it's a problem, that's something that's making you uncomfortable and you've already like been like, whoa, hey, then you might want to talk to some inner circle sources about like the inappropriateness of it, you know, because you do want to be comfortable, very comfortable in your space of jiu-jitsu, given what we're doing every day. So I hope that is helpful. All right, guys. I've talked enough, and this was amazing, and I'm so excited to start yet again another journey but about something that I'm so passionate about, and having to be a girl in jiu-jitsu and the whole lifestyle of everything. I'm gonna give you guys lots of variety. I always want to hear from you guys what you want to hear. The next video I do will poke a little more at being girly in jiu-jitsu. I want to talk about the topic of sexy jiu-jitsu photos, because I know that's been recently brought up on some pages, and of course you see it, so we're gonna dig into that a little bit next week, and that's always fun to talk about. And just, I got a lot of questions on just beauty essentials and whatnot, so we'll talk about that next week. But again, it's such an honor to be doing this for me, what feels like such a short time, with a lot of commitment. So I'm just so honored to be able to be talking about this and to start this journey with all of you and whoever's watching. Please always feel free to message me on Instagram. I try to be very good at getting back to everybody. Let me know what you want to hear. Give me feedback in the comments. Did I talk too long? Did I not talk enough? What else would you like to hear? Because we can always come back. I can always recap at the beginning of my next episode, maybe touch on some things I might have missed that are really, really, really burning and just passionate that you guys want to hear about. But on that note, I'm stoked to be talking to you guys and sharing my experiences in my lifestyle with you a little bit more personally. It's really exciting. So on that note, I will talk to you guys next week.